Okay, so I thought it was about time that we sat down and had another herb hour with Emma where I share some of my favorite herbs on various topics. And today I wanted to dive into all of my favorite herbs for various women's health concerns. And the way I'm going to break up this video is I'm going to pick various concerns that ail women, and I'm going to share all of my favorite herbs that I would either use for myself, for my friends and family, or for my clients. So to begin the video, we are going to start with painful periods. And I wanted to share, first and foremost, my favorite herb for that to always just recommend to friends and family and everyone in my community, and that would be red raspberry leaf. You've probably heard of red raspberry leaf. It is a very commonly used herb for cramping and painful periods, and that is because it is an astringent herb and it has an affinity for the uterus, for the reproductive system of a woman. And so what that means is, if you think of an astringent substance, it tonifies things. Like, you put astringents on your face to tonify your pores, but red raspberry leaf is an astringent herb that tonifies the uterus and it prevents it from having excessive cramping. So if you're somebody that has really painful periods and cramps a lot and just has like heavy cramping or heavy bleeding, red raspberry leaf can be a very potent ally for you to carry with you throughout your menstrual phase. And it is also a nutritive herb, and what that means is that it is very rich in various minerals to help remineralize our body, and that can be really helpful because we lose a lot of iron and magnesium on our bleeds, and magnesium specifically is really, really important for preventing painful periods, for preventing cramping. And yeah, so red raspberry leaf is just a very great ally to have as a woman. Another herb that I love for painful periods would be one that I would implement during my entire luteal phase leading up to my period to just prepare myself, and that would be maca. Maca is a very, very, very potent adaptogen specifically for our luteal phase because it's really great at just making sure that progesterone is rising and that we are responding well to the fluctuations in the hormones that are happening throughout luteal phase. It's also a root herb, which means that it's rich in a lot of different polysaccharides, which are going to be nourishing to the body, considering that we need more energy as we go into menstrual and we just like fluctuate with luteal. Another herb that I use if my period is specifically painful is ginger root. I would either take it internally because it's really anti-inflammatory and really helps with spasms. It's antispasmodic, so it can be really powerful for just preventing any painful cramping from occurring. You can also make like a poultice with a castor oil pack or hot water and a washcloth and just drape it over your abdomen or your womb and just allow yourself to lay there and soak in all of the healing properties of it. Another herb that's really great and antispasmodic would be cramp bark. It has an acid in it known as valerianic acid, and that is also found in valerian root. And if a lot of people know valerian root, it's really great for helping you sleep. And the chemical component to it is valerianic acid, and it's sedating. It's just very antispasmodic. So you can use cramp bark as well if you're having especially painful periods. Okay, leading into digestive concerns specifically during our period, ginger root is a great herb for this because it helps with nausea, but it also just helps ignite our digestive fire and helps us break down food, helps with any bloating, helps just assimilate nutrients from the foods that we are eating to make sure that we're getting all of the goodness from those foods and deliver it to the rest of our body. It's just a really great herb to include into your daily routine, no matter where you're at in your cycle, but especially during menstrual phase, it can be really powerful. Okay, moving into our next ailment, I'm going to be speaking on PCOS. And specifically, I wanted to speak on this because I have recently learned that a lot of people in my life have been diagnosed with PCOS, and it seems like more and more women are developing PCOS, and I think it's a really important topic to discuss on, and there's a lot of fundamental attributes to it that are contributing to the cause, but I'm going to share some herbs that I've found in research to be supportive and also in my clinical practice. And the first one is fenugreek. Fenugreek is a phytoestrogenic herb, but it also modulates testosterone and androgens in the body. And there's a component to PCOS where androgens are playing a big role, especially for people who get hair growth on their face or on their neck. Fenugreek can be a really powerful tool for that. And a bonus is that when you eat it, it makes you smell like maple syrup. So that's really fun. You can include it into your food because it's a culinary herb. It's found in a lot of curries. I like to just make a tea out of it and then eat the seeds. Another herb that can be really great for people with PCOS would be chaste berry or vitex. It's really powerful at helping our body find its optimal progesterone and estrogen balance no matter where we're at in our cycle. It is also really helpful for PCOS in general. Another herb would be spearmint leaf. Spearmint leaf is really helpful for insulin resistance, which plays a role in PCOS. Another herb for that would be cinnamon. I would do cinnamon or spearmint for blood sugar regulation. You can make a tea every single night and just sip on it before bed, or you can make a tea and sip on it throughout the day. Either way. You can also get a tincture and add it to your water. Any of those options. Okay, let's move into bloating. I know I touched on bloating a little bit when I was talking about ginger, but I wanted to share some of my favorite herbs for bloating in general as a woman. And this whole category I'm going to speak on are called carminatives and bitters. And so bitter herbs are really powerful, and when you think of them, you can even just like notice that your mouth starts to salivate. That whole action, the taste of bitter, not necessarily the herbs themselves, but their flavor, that bitter flavor, helps release bile from the gallbladder, which helps go to the liver and get things moving, and that can be really helpful for digestion and bloating overall. And so if you struggle with digestion, slow digestion, or just bloating, especially when your cycle is in a specific place, whether that's post-ovulation or towards end of luteal phase, you can use bitter herbs. And one of those is ginger, but another really powerful one, especially for our hormones, is dandelion root. I love dandelion root because you can grow it, you can forage it as long as it hasn't been sprayed, and it's very accessible. So you can use dandelion root, and that can be really helpful. It's also been shown to help with PMS and with irregular periods, with a lot of different reproductive health concerns. Another really powerful one is orange peel. That's another one that you can find in your kitchen. You can just save your orange peels. You can either eat and chew on the orange peel itself, or you can throw it in a smoothie, make a tea out of it. You can also make a tincture out of it, which is my favorite way to have it. And so that's really powerful. You can also make an herbal vinegar out of it, where you just save them all in a jar and you cover them with some vinegar and let it seep for about a month to 2 months. And then you can add that to salad dressings or take it before meals as like a shot, especially with the apple cider vinegar. It's really powerful for digestion. And then on the carminative side, this would be ones that would help just like ease your tummy overall. Ginger is a carminative, but my favorite one would be fennel. I really love fennel. Having fennel seeds on hand in the kitchen is really powerful to just make a nice tea to help your body just assimilate all the nutrients and allow your body to absorb everything that it's supposed to. If your period is late, missing any of those things, I find that herbs can be a really helpful ally for that. And one herb that I really like is shatavari. Shatavari is known as the herb that can help a woman bear 1,000 children, but it's also joked that a woman can tolerate 1,000 children, and that's because it's an adaptogen and it helps our bodies adapt to stressors, stressful situations. And a big reason that women don't get their periods, or they have missing periods or irregular periods, is because of stress. And when you're stressed, your body essentially puts all non-necessary functions on the back burner, and reproduction is not necessary for us to survive individually. And so helping our stress levels overall with adaptogens like shatavari can be really helpful, and I love to just include it every single day to help get my body all the support that it needs. Another herb that can be really helpful is yarrow, and that's because yarrow is an emmenagogue, and emmenagogues essentially just get our uterus moving and contracting and can help blood flow. And so yarrow is a really powerful herb for this. Another herb that can be foraged and found in most places, especially in North America. Another powerful herb for this is mugwort or moonwort. It's really helpful at just regulating our cycles. It's really bitter, and so it can be really helpful to include, especially on your moon if you have like scanty bleeding, or it can be really helpful for any woman that has just stagnation in their uterus. And so I really love mugwort for that reason as well. If you experience hormonal acne, I love to topically put white willow bark extract on my face because it is rich in salicylic acid. It is actually where aspirin comes from, in salicylic acid that is in a lot of acne treatments, and it's natural and it comes from a plant. So I love to put that on my face. And to treat the root cause of it, you really want to pay attention to estrogen detoxification, and so that would be including in lots of the bitter herbs that I said before. One really great one is burdock, another one is gentian root, and then dandelion, like I said before, orange peel. Also, chaste tree berry or vitex can also be a very helpful tool at helping your body find its optimal progesterone and estrogen ratio, which is really important because a lot of the time hormonal acne is caused by too much estrogen or estrogen dominance, and so that's either caused by too little progesterone production or your liver not being able to detoxify out all the estrogen that it needs to, and so it just recirculates and recirculates, and so that's what's causing it. So getting to the root cause by supporting your gut microbiome with bitter herbs and also supporting that healthy ratio is key. Another way to support your gut microbiome would be with prebiotic herbs or prebiotic fibers, and two that I really love are chicory root. It's really great as a coffee substitute. It tastes nutty and roasted like coffee does. And then another one would be Jerusalem artichoke. That's also really powerful. If you have chronic yeast infections, you also want to be supporting your gut microbiome with the herbs that I listed before, but you can also use various herbs to help this as well, and here are some of my favorite herbs. Sage is a really powerful herb that you can grow in your garden that can be really helpful to make into a tea or to cook with to help support the microbiome of your yoni internally. Another herb would be red raspberry leaf, like we talked about before. It's just really helpful at tonifying and supporting our uterus and yoni lining. Another one would be mullein because it helps nourish your mucous membranes, and it's also antimicrobial and antibacterial, so it can be really helpful at preventing yeast infections and then also supporting a healthy mucosal lining inside of our yoni, which can be really soothing and just really helpful overall. And then finally, golden seal root is really powerful as well, just because it is also antimicrobial and really nourishing to those tissues. If you experience chronic UTIs, I would also really recommend checking your gut microbiome and supporting your gut. But one herb that I really love for this is cranberry. Cranberry is technically a fruit, but it's also used in herbal medicine to help support the urinary tract. Another great herb for this would be Oregon grapefruit. When you pull Oregon grapefruit out of the ground, it has this orange substance when you scratch your thumb against it, and that orange substance is what is the potent medicine here. That potent medicine is known as berberine, and it has been shown to be really supportive in chronic UTIs and just supporting pain overall in the body and just supporting overall urinary tract system rejuvenation. Uva ursi is also another great herb for urinary tract infections or chronic UTIs because it helps reduce the amount of bacteria in our urine, and that can be really helpful as well. Okay, so now we're going to be getting into some more fun topics, and I wanted to talk about herbs that can help increase your sex drive and your sexual creativity. Okay, so your sexual energy is not just limited to intercourse with a partner. Your sexual energy is your creative energy. It is stored in your sacral chakra where your womb is, and you can tap into it and use it to help create various babies, and one of those can be creative babies or sensual babies and things like that, where you can just use this energy to tap into a flow state. And so some of my favorite herbs for that would be damiana. It's an aphrodisiac, but it's also a really great herb for helping stimulate our uterus and help stimulate the development of our follicles and those sorts of things. And so it can be really beneficial, especially in the first half of your cycle during your follicular phase, to help build estrogen, to help build that creative energy, and just allow your body to tap into that sensual energy. Another herb that I love for this would be rose. Rose is very heart opening, and so it can be a really great tool to help open your heart and open your womb space and connect the two. Rose is also very astringent, and so it can help tonify things, it can help tonify your energy and allow you to gather and just blossom in your own creative and sensual way. Another great herb for this would be cacao. Cacao is known as the food of the gods. It has theobromine in it, which is really powerful for allowing us to tap into our creativity, to tap into a flow state, and to also increase serotonin in the brain, which is really powerful. If you experience vaginal dryness at various parts in your cycle, or if you just chronically experience that because you are coming off of the pill or things like that, there are various herbs that you can use to nourish the mucous membranes, like I talked about before. Mullein is a great herb. Another great herb would be marshmallow root, and finally another great herb would be aloe, because they all have something known as mucilage, which helps nourish our mucous membranes and just helps make sure that they are luscious and juicy and just making all of the right things that they should be. If you are somebody that is recovering from an eating disorder, amenorrhea, and you know that you have low estrogen levels, there are various herbs that can really be helpful here as well. If you just don't get your cycle and you don't know if you're cycling, I would definitely work with a healthcare practitioner, but various herbs that can be supportive with this would be red raspberry leaf, vitex. Those can be just really great at modulating your body overall. Shatavari, dong kai is really great, Chinese white peony, licorice root, red clover, fenugreek, and nettle. Those can all be very powerful, just like nourishing, all across the board, great herbs. They are targeting various aspects of your body. And so if you wanted to learn more about those yourself, you definitely could. But in cases of missing your periods, those sorts of things, they tend to be a nourishment concern. And so whether you're over exercising or you're not eating enough, one of those things is contributing to the cause, or both of those things. And I was right there with you, and sometimes I'm still right there with you. If I exercise too much, or stress gets the best of me, or I find myself not eating as much as I normally do, or I'm traveling, my period is the first thing to go. And so I am so passionate about this because it's something that I have learned to use to help support my body. And so I hope that you found these herbs helpful. And if you have any other questions about various herbs for other things, I'd love to make a video on just that for you guys. So comment down below any other videos or topics that you would love to hear me talk about as a clinical nutritionist and herbalist. And until then, I really hope that you guys love this video, and I have so many other videos talking about herbs and just nutrition and holistic health altogether. My chickens sound a little hungry, so I'm gonna go take care of them, but I love you guys. Thank you guys for tuning in, and I will see you soon. Bye!